T3, so the scaled daily huddles. So this has been a really powerful change that we have made. At first, there was a bit of apprehension by the team to move in this direction. So I'll highlight the before and after. So let me move into the next slide. So I'm showing you a ton of information here. What we wanted to do a time study, and we wanted to understand before we got into the scaled huddles how our managers were spending their time. And we knew that meetings was one of the places where managers were spending a lot of their time. And so we asked the managers, and so we have 15 different managers, which you can see on the left-hand side here. And we asked each of those managers to pick a week in May, or we had indicated a particular week in May in 2020. And we wanted them to identify how many meetings they were having and how much time they were spending in meetings. So we did that by days of the week. We totaled that up. And so you can see that in one of these two yellow columns, the total number of hours and the total number of meetings. And our thinking was, our hypothesis was, that by introducing the scaled huddles, we may be able to reduce the number of meetings or the number of hours. But so this gave us a baseline. So this was in May. I'm going to flip to the next slide. So it's very similar, but it's a different week in June. So it really established a baseline for us to see how we could improve. Because really before that, there was no system for meetings. It was more up to each individual manager to structure their own schedule. So the organization did not have a system, and it became a little too unwieldy. Again, a bit more chaotic. And so we wanted to bring some order to that. Okay. So again, there's a fair amount of information here, but this is the model we set up to introduce scaled huddles. And so we ordered it into four different color lines, which represent the work that happens in our department. So we clustered teams into 4 different color lines. The green one is for infrastructure, the yellow one is for programming, the blue one is for fill the beds, and the red one is for customer service. So now that you have that orientation, let me start at the bottom here. So you'll see a blue arrow that says T1. And so what happens every day is that all of the members of our team belong on a smaller team. And so they get together at 9:15 for 15 minutes. And so each of these green dots, or each of these dots along the bottom in the various different colors, represent the individual team. So they get together for 15 minutes. They then have some discussion about what the issues are. And then one of those individuals from those three teams, from each of those teams will then move up to T2, so the team of teams. And so then we start to get into a bit of a larger group conversation, and they spend 15 minutes together. They see if there's any common issues that they should be working on or addressing, or if they need to escalate it. And then one person from that group at T2 will move up to T3. And so now there's one person from the entire green line, one person from the yellow line, one person from the blue line, one person from the red. So it's 4 individuals that will then see if there's any common issues that they should be discussing, and if there should be anything that gets escalated up to T4, which is where I am along with my senior team. So that gives you a bit of an orientation. I'm going to see if I can simplify this a bit more. So let me move on to the next slide. So this is just a morning scheduled out along each day of the week. And so you can see at the T1 level, they meet at 9:15 for 15 minutes. And then they immediately, one person from each team moves up to T2. They meet for 15 minutes. One person from there goes up to T3 at 9:45. And then if there's any issue that need to get escalated up to T4, then that happens at 10 o'clock. So within 1 hour, everybody on my team has had a chance to meet with their team and escalate issues, so that at me as the department head, I get to know if there's any issues that need my attention that day. And I can do that within the first hour. And you might wonder what some of those issues are, so that moves on to the issues log. And so this has become a very powerful example of what can happen when the team, when the entire organization starts to organize around a system. So again, I'm going to use a comparison between before and after, so the past with the present. So I'm starting with the past. So this is a very busy chart, again, very colorful. And so you can see the A arrow, I'm pointing to the functional areas. And a functional area is represented by a manager. And so this is all of the different managers in the department and their team that they oversee. And then we map, so we created this about 5 years ago. And we thought it was pretty impressive when we had done it. In the end, it didn't prove very effective. But then along the top here, after the function area, we've got just the months of the year. And the colors correspond to how busy each of those units were. And so red being the busiest, orange being the next busiest, then yellow, then blue, or then green, blue, and purple. So purple is the least busy. So you can see in August and September, we were our busiest. And so this more or less reaffirmed what we already knew, but it didn't give us enough detail. So then I'm coming back to that detail again. You really have to get into the detail to be able to improve the system. So while this was impressive at the time, ultimately it didn't have too much of an impact on us. So let me show you what started to have more impact, because there's a lot more detail. So I've labeled this the power of seeing issues. So we started the scaled huddles back in July. And at the same time, we introduced this issues log. So in just over 6 months, my team identified over 1,000 issues. So 1,064 to be precise as of last Friday. And that is much more specific than that last slide I just showed you. And it's probably the best thing about that is 96.4% of the issues are being dealt with before they get to the senior level. And I can assure you those issues, a lot of those issues would have existed before, but now we get to see them and everybody can see them. And now we can also highlight how well the team is doing at solving their own problems. And so some issues that would in the past have come up because it just would have been too complicated to deal with, now the team is starting to see it and they're having better conversations. So I'll draw your attention to a few different items on this chart here. So the A in the middle here, the A arrow, it's pointing to the issue description. So again, each team fills this out, or an individual will fill this out, and it gives us some detail. So again, what is it that we need to do? So the what part of the target. The B is referring to who owns the issue. So a specific individual needs to own the issue. So again, that's really important, so we know who's accountable. And then the when is, I'm pointing to the date resolved. We do identify when the issue gets identified, but we want to make sure things get solved. We want to make sure problems get solved. So then we've got a date resolved column. So the issues log has been very powerful. Again, over 1,000 issues were logged, so we could see the issues. Visualization is really important if you want to continuously improve. So 1,064, and 96% of my team are able to deal with it before it gets to the senior team's level.